Daily heavenly manna, August 7th. If a man contend in the games, he is not crowned unless he strive lawfully. 2 Timothy chapter 2:5, Diaglot. Jesus observed God's times and seasons and methods. He never recklessly exposed his life until from the prophets he recognized that his hour had come to be delivered into the hands of his enemies. He did not make long prayers on the street corners to be heard of men, nor exhort the multitude with noisy harangue. As the prophet indicated, he did not lift up his voice nor cry aloud in the streets. Isaiah 42:2. He chose God's methods, which are rational and wise, and which are effective in selecting from among men the class which he desires to be heirs of the promised kingdom. Let those who would so run as to obtain the prize mark these footprints of the Master and be filled more and more with his Spirit. Reprint 3070.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at, well, competing to win, but through a really specific lens, striving lawfully. It's a phrase you might have heard, maybe from Cheek Empathy, and it kind of challenges how we usually think about, getting ahead.
Exactly. And our mission for this deep dive is to see how one major historical figure, according to our source today, really embodied this.
Right, but maybe not in the ways you'd first expect.
Precisely.
Right.
It's less about grand pronouncements and more about strategy and timing. We're using this specific text as our guide to explore that.
Okay, so let's dig into this. The source we're focusing on zeroes in on Jesus's methods.
Yeah.
And it's not the picture of, say, constant public spectacle we might sometimes imagine. It actually says he observed God's times and seasons and methods.
Which is fascinating, isn't it? That suggests a real deliberation, not just acting, but acting at the right time in the right way.
Calculated, almost. Patient.
Absolutely. And the source underlines this. It says, he never recklessly exposed his life until from the prophets he recognized that his hour had come.
So no unnecessary risks, no jumping the gun.
No, it seems it was all about recognizing the exact moment. Strategic patience, you could call it. Waiting for that specific cue before making a major move.
Which feels pretty countercultural today, maybe.
Definitely stands out.
And here's where it gets really specific about what he didn't do, according to this text.
Yep.
It says he did not make long prayers on the street corners to be heard of men.
Avoiding the performative aspect.
Exactly. And it even brings in Isaiah 42, that passage about a leader who's not loud or showy.
The servant song, yes.
Right. It says he didn't exhort the multitude with noisy harangue, or, quoting the prophet, he did not lift up his voice nor cry aloud in the streets.
So actively not being the loudest voice in the room.
Yeah. It completely flips the script on what we might think effective leadership or influence looks like, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you ask, well, why? Why choose these quieter, less obvious methods?
And the source offers an explanation. It calls them rational and wise.
Okay, rational and wise, but effective for what?
Well, it says these methods were effective in selecting from among men the class which he desires to be heirs of the promised kingdom.
So it's about selection. It's a targeted approach.
Seems like it. Not just grabbing anyone's attention, but attracting a specific kind of person or follower.
Someone genuinely receptive, perhaps, rather than just, drawn by the noise or the spectacle.
Right. Quality over quantity, maybe. Building something solid rather than just making a splash.
It suggests a deeper, more enduring kind of impact was the goal.
So, thinking about you, the listener, how does this apply? What's the takeaway from this source? It wraps up with this advice. Let those who would so run as to obtain the prize mark these footprints of the Master and be filled more and more with his Spirit.
So the source is essentially saying, look at this model.
Yeah. Study this approach, the deliberate, the non-reckless, the strategically quiet way if you want to achieve your own prize, whatever that might be. It's about thoughtful action, not just, shouting louder.
Aligning your efforts with a kind of wisdom, maybe.
What part of these footprints, as the source calls them, really stands out to you?
I think it's that contrast with today. We often equate making an impact with being visible, being loud, having the biggest platform.
Sure.
But this source, it flips that. It suggests, well, maybe the most powerful way to strive lawfully, to compete effectively, is sometimes quieter.
More strategic?
Yeah. Deliberate, knowing when to act, when to wait, when to be quiet. almost an invisible influence in a way. It definitely makes you reconsider what real strength or effective strategy looks like, whatever field you're in. It's not always about the volume control.
Something to think about as you pursue your own goals, your own prize.